It was a solid night for the Los Angeles Lakers, coming off a good win and looking much more organized on the court. And one of the biggest talking points from this game was the impact of Jake LaRavia. When you watch the game closely, you start to understand why some people are so high on his potential with this team. Even when the opponent is not one of the strongest teams in the league, you still have to take care of business, and the Lakers did exactly what they were supposed to do. But beyond the win itself, the performance and presence of certain role players continues to show why depth and effort matter so much over the course of a long season. Jake LaRavia is one of those players who does a lot of things that do not always show up in the basic scoring column, and that is something many fans overlook when they evaluate players. Not every player is going to score 20 points per game, and not every player needs to in order to be valuable. LaRavia brings defense, rebounding, hustle plays, and versatility, and those are things that winning teams always need. He is constantly fighting for loose balls, getting into passing lanes, contesting shots, and helping on the boards. These are the types of contributions that change possessions and create opportunities for the team, even if they do not always appear in highlight reels. When you look at his numbers across the season, they may not immediately jump off the page, but the efficiency and the overall contribution tell a more complete story. He shoots a solid percentage from the field, contributes rebounds, adds assists, and is active defensively with steals and occasional blocks. What makes his production even more interesting is how it scales with more minutes. When he gets more playing time, his overall stat line improves across the board, which shows that his impact grows when he is given a bigger role. That is usually a good sign for a young player who is still developing confidence and consistency. Another important factor is his age and development curve. He is still young, still learning, and this is one of the first seasons where he is getting more consistent opportunities on the court. Young players are always going to have inconsistent performances, and that is part of the development process. You cannot ask a team to get younger and develop players and then expect those same players to perform like veterans every single night. There will be ups and downs, good games and bad games, strong stretches and cold stretches. What matters is what the player brings overall and whether he contributes to winning basketball. One of the biggest strengths LaRavia brings is defense and rebounding from the wing position. Players who can guard multiple positions, help on the boards, and still move the ball on offense are extremely valuable in modern basketball. He is often the right place defensively, rotates well, and reads passing lanes effectively. On offense, even when he's not scoring a lot, he keeps the ball moving, makes the extra pass, and plays within the flow of the offense instead of forcing bad shots. That kind of decision-making is something coaches really appreciate because it keeps the offense organized and efficient. There is also the mental side of his offensive game. Sometimes you can see that when he misses a couple of shots, it affects his confidence, and that is something that happens with many young players. Confidence plays a huge role in scoring, especially for role players who do not take a large number of shots every game. When he starts a game strong and sees the ball go through the basket early, his entire offensive approach changes. He becomes more aggressive, cuts harder to the basket, runs the floor faster in transition, and looks more comfortable taking open shots. When that confidence is there, you can see how effective he can be offensively as well. The Lakers as a team already have players who can score and create offense, so what they really need around those players are guys who do the dirty work, defend, rebound, and make smart plays. That is exactly where LaRavia fits in. Every successful team has players like this, the ones who may not lead the team in scoring, but play a huge role in winning games. They fill the gaps, cover defensive mistakes, grab important rebounds, and keep the energy high throughout the game. Those players are often the difference between a good team and a great team. Another thing that stands out is how his impact becomes more noticeable when he gets more consistent minutes. When a player only plays a few minutes per game, fans often judge them only by whether they scored or missed their shots. But when they play longer stretches, you start to see the full picture of what they bring to the game. More rebounds, more defensive plays, more ball movement, more hustle plays, and overall more impact on both ends of the floor. That is why opportunity and consistency in minutes are so important for developing players. As the season continues and he keeps getting more experience, the expectation is that his offensive game will continue to improve, especially his outside shooting and finishing around the rim. Those are areas that usually improve with repetition, confidence, and off-season work. If he becomes a more consistent three-point shooter, his overall value to the team will increase even more because defenders will have to respect his shot, which opens up driving lanes and passing opportunities for the rest of the offense. As the rotation continues to change throughout the season due to injuries, rest, and tactical adjustments, players like LaRavia become even more important because they can step into different roles without the team losing its identity on the court. Not every player can adapt quickly when moving from the bench to the starting lineup or the other way around, but he seems comfortable doing both. Some players perform better with the second unit because they have the ball more, while others fit better with starters because they focus on defense and off-ball movement. Being able to function in both situations is a valuable trait, especially for a team that has playoff ambitions and needs flexibility in its lineups. Another aspect that often goes unnoticed is how energy players can change the pace of a game. Hustle plays, offensive rebounds, deflections, and transition runs can completely shift momentum. There are moments in games where the team looks flat, shots are not falling, and the offense slows down, and that is when players who bring energy and effort become crucial. A steal that leads to a fast break, a rebound in traffic, or diving for a loose ball can wake up the entire team and the crowd. These small moments can change the flow of a game more than a simple jump shot sometimes. Defense is another area where his presence is very important. Guarding multiple positions, helping on switches, and staying active in passing lanes requires effort, awareness, and discipline. Defense is not only about blocking shots or getting steals, it is also about positioning, communication, and forcing opponents into difficult shots. When a player consistently does the right things defensively, it helps the entire team structure. Good team defense is built on players who rotate correctly, help each other, and recover quickly, and those are areas where his effort shows up constantly. Rebounding from a wing position is also something that gives the team an advantage. When guards and wings help on the boards, it allows the team to push the ball faster in transition because the rebounder can immediately start the fast break instead of waiting for an outlet pass. This creates more fast break opportunities and easier points, which are extremely valuable, especially in games where half-court offense becomes difficult. Extra possessions from offensive rebounds are also a huge factor because they give the team second chances to score and put pressure on the opposing defense. Offensively, even though consistency is still developing, there are clear signs of improvement in decision-making and shot selection. Instead of forcing difficult shots, he usually takes attempts within the flow of the offense, cuts to the basket when defenders lose focus, and runs the floor in transition. Players who move without the ball and understand spacing are very important in modern basketball because they create opportunities not only for themselves but also for their teammates. Good movement opens driving lanes, creates open shots, and forces defenses to constantly adjust. Confidence will continue to be a major factor in his development. Many young players go through phases where they hesitate after missing a shot or two, and that hesitation can affect the rest of their game. The key is continuing to contribute in other areas even when the shot is not falling. Defense, rebounding, passing, and effort should never depend on whether shots are going in, and that is something that separates good role players from players who disappear when they are not scoring. The more experience he gains, the more comfortable and confident he will become in all aspects of the game. Looking at the bigger picture, teams that compete deep into the season always have players who accept their roles and excel in them. Not everyone needs to be a star, but every team needs players who do the little things, play defense, move the ball, and bring energy every night. Over the course of a long season, these players become extremely important because they help maintain consistency and balance in the team. They're the ones who step up when injuries happen, when rotations change, and when the team needs a spark of energy. If his shooting continues to improve and his confidence grows, his role could become even bigger in the future. A player who can defend, rebound, move the ball, and hit open shots is always valuable in any system. Development is not always a straight line, and there will be games where things do not go well, but that is part of the process for any young player finding his place in the league. The important thing is the overall trajectory, the improvement over time, and the impact on winning basketball. As the team continues to push forward and prepare for more important games later in the season, contributions from players like him will continue to matter more and more. Star players will always get most of the attention, but basketball is always a team game, and success usually depends on the players who fill the gaps, do the dirty work, and bring effort every single night regardless of how many points they score. And when you watch closely, you start to realize that those contributions often make a bigger difference than people initially notice. One of the aspects that really stands out about LaRavia is his versatility. He can defend multiple positions, slide into different lineups, and still maintain a high level of energy and effort. That kind of flexibility allows the coaching staff to experiment with rotations, give other players rest, or adjust tactics depending on the opponent. In modern basketball, being able to switch seamlessly between roles is incredibly valuable because it keeps the team unpredictable and makes it harder for opponents to exploit mismatches. Players like him give the team options that go beyond just scoring or individual stats. They provide strategic depth. His growth this season also highlights the importance of opportunity. When young players are given consistent minutes and defined roles, their game tends to stabilize and their confidence improves. LaRavia is benefiting from this as he starts to understand where he fits within the Lakers system. He has a clear understanding of spacing, timing, and defensive rotations, which allows him to maximize his strengths. Even if he is not the primary scorer, his awareness on both ends of the floor creates opportunities for his teammates and contributes to a smoother overall team performance. Another key factor in his value is his defensive instincts. While some fans might focus solely on offensive stats, basketball is a game of possessions, and defense often decides the outcome of tight games. LaRavia's ability to anticipate passes, disrupt ball handlers, and contest shots without fouling shows a level of basketball intelligence that goes beyond raw athleticism. Those plays might not always make the highlight reels, but they directly impact the game by preventing points and generating turnovers that lead to fast break opportunities for the Lakers. Rebounding is another area where his impact cannot be overstated. In a team that sometimes struggles to get consistent efforts on the boards from non-big men, LaRavia's ability to crash the glass adds another dimension to the Lakers' game. Offensive rebounds give the team additional possessions and can lead to crucial second-chance points, while defensive boards help limit opponents' opportunities and allow for quick transition plays. Finally, his development trajectory points toward a promising future. At just 24 years old, he still has room to grow and refine his offensive game, particularly his three-point shooting and finishing around the rim. As he gains experience and confidence, his consistency is likely to improve, making him an even more reliable piece for the Lakers. Players like LaRavia, who combine effort, intelligence, versatility, and a willingness to do the less glamorous work, are often the ones who make the difference in playoff runs. Watching him evolve this season gives fans a glimpse of the type of role player every championship-caliber team needs. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, whispers are beginning to circulate around Los Angeles Lakers facilities, and they all point in one intriguing direction: a potential new weapon from beyond the arc. The name at the center of the buzz is Luke Kennard, a sharpshooter whose arrival, though not yet officially framed as a long-term solution, is already stirring optimism among those close to the team. According to sources familiar with recent training sessions, Kennard has wasted no time making an impression. Observers describe a player moving with confidence, knocking down perimeter shots with remarkable consistency, and bringing a level of spacing that the Lakers have quietly been searching for. While nothing has been confirmed publicly, the tone inside practice gyms suggests more than just routine experimentation. For a team that has struggled at times to stretch defenses, the idea of integrating a specialist like Kennard feels less like a gamble and more like a calculated shift. His reputation as an elite shooter precedes him, but insiders claim that his current form may even exceed expectations. One anonymous staff member reportedly hinted that the ball barely touches the rim, when Kennard gets into rhythm. Still, questions linger. Is this simply a short-term adjustment, or could it evolve into something more permanent? The Lakers have historically leaned on star power, yet the modern game demands precision from distance. In that context, Kennard's skill set becomes increasingly valuable, and perhaps even essential. Teammates, while careful not to reveal too much, are said to be responding positively. There is talk of improved spacing during scrimmages, cleaner offensive sets, and a renewed sense of balance on the floor. If these early signs hold true, the Lakers may have quietly addressed one of their most persistent issues. For now, everything remains in the realm of speculation. But in a league where shooting can redefine a team's identity overnight, the possibility of Luke Kennard emerging as a key perimeter solution is a storyline gaining momentum, and one that may soon be impossible to ignore. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.